Hello everyone, Storm11 here. Today we'll be watching two different systems. The first system will be coming in Wednesday night to Thursday. A system will be developing somewhere across parts of the Ozarks here. Could bring in some snow anywhere from parts of the Ozarks through Lower Haw Valley, eventually getting into parts of the Mid-Atlantic as well. Could be some winter storm potential across parts of Kentucky and West Virginia. That same cold front that be from that one storm system, as it moves further to the south, another storm system is expected to develop across parts of the deep south. It could have some type of snow threat across parts of the Carolinas, Mid-Atlantic, and there might be a chance that could go up to parts of the East Coast as well, up into parts of Maine. That might become a winter storm as well. We'll be going deep into detail with these two storms as well. Before we get started this video, if you guys do like weather related content, you can always subscribe to my channel. We do this stuff here all the time on this channel here. We'll definitely be having more updates on these storms here in the incoming days. So we're going to get started with the GFS model. Our big winter storm is now moving out of the U.S. It's still going to continue to bring in some snow showers across parts of the Northeast, but it sure has dumped a lot of snow for parts of western New York, northeastern Ohio, and northwestern Pennsylvania. I've heard some reports of at least 18 inches of snow in some of those areas. As expected, with some of those deformation bands developing up there, plus you do have that Great Lakes enhancement, so that adds a little bit more snow into the mix as well. So that's where we had some of the highest totals. The ice storm wasn't too bad down across parts of the Carolinas, but it still caused plenty of issues down there as well, either way, especially with them strong winds as well. Could cause some big problems down there as well. Overall, it's been quite a significant snowstorm as well for parts of the eastern U.S. as well, even including some severe weather across parts of southern Florida as well. So that storm system will be moving out. Our next storm to watch here, our piece of energy right now, it be just off the west coast of California. That'll be coming on shore later tonight to tomorrow morning. Eventually, when we get some weather balloon data off of this system, we should have a better idea of what's going to be happening in this area right in here, because this is going to be a little bit of a sneaky setup here for some of these areas. So we'll have a strong low pressure system moving across parts of southern Canada and parts of the Great Lakes. It will bring in around some snow across parts of the Great Lakes region. It will have a strong cold front with it as well. Very cold air behind the storm. I mean, you got 1,047 millibar high in the parts of Alberta. I mean, that's a pretty strong high, and this thing here is going to bring in some bitterly cold air into the northern plains, into the Midwest, eventually into Great Lakes. That'll produce some lake effect snow action up there. At this point here, by Wednesday, we got some showers going on across parts of Kentucky, Tennessee. So unfortunately, some of that snow is going to melt away with those milder temperatures. But it won't be too much longer before a system develops to the southwest around the Texas Arcana region. You do notice here, wintry precipitation is now starting to develop in the Ozarks. You can see here as this cold air kind of comes in, our low will start to develop. It'll be a weak low pressure system. Not expecting a major low out of this or anything, but it'll be at least strong enough to produce some snow on the backside here. And there are still some questions of how much snow this could produce here. And really the main area to watch here that could see some of the most of the snow will be across parts of Kentucky and West Virginia, where we could see multiple rounds of snow for a longer duration. And some of the snow here could get up into parts of the Northeast as well. And then again, it's not going to be a major event or anything like that. And, and eventually, after that, we should start to see a system develop in the Deep South. But we'll get to that in a little bit. Let's get into a little bit more detail with our first system. So, really over the next couple of days, things will get slightly milder every day. You got that snowpack in there, so things are going to stay on the colder side. And eventually here you start to see showers developing just south of your cold front, which is right here. This is your Arctic front. Got some showers going on. Further to south, temperatures will be in the upper 30s to low 40s for many places. And oh yeah, by the way, this is the Harris Canadian. This model here did a really good job again on the last storm. And this is its preference. It does have some snow on the backside here, but it's not as much as the GFS model. Here's your low down here in Mississippi and Alabama. Then again, a pretty weak low. They'll move to the northeast. It won't last very long, but you do see here it does at least bring around some snow, and even further to back to the southwest does have some mixing of some sleet, maybe a little bit of freezing rain with it as well. And eventually another low will try to develop along that front, somewhere in the deep south at that time as well. NAM has a little bit of a different story here. If we do check out the NAM, it's actually got some more snow with it. And you can see here, then again, with a longer duration here of time than the high-risk Canadian here, you get these multiple rounds. I don't think we're going to see heavy snow out of this. I think it's going to be more of a light to moderate fashion here. But it still shows a pretty good round of snow anywhere from parts of the Ozarks through parts of the Lower Ohio Valley, Tennessee Valley, even eventually getting up to parts of the Mid-Atlantic and maybe into the parts of the Northeast as well. You can see here how this Arctic front continues to move to the south, but eventually it's going to put the brakes on as another system will try to develop somewhere in deep south and will ride up along the Arctic front as well at around that point. Why is there some differences here from the Harvest Canadian, which didn't have much snow, versus the NAM, which had more snow? Well, let's check out how much energy is going on. So here's our storm down here, and it doesn't look very impressive, but really the main thing here to watch is this northern piece of energy here. And I'm just going to show you guys the difference here between two. So this is the high-risk Canadian. Let's look into the NAM. And there are differences here. And what's that difference if you may be asking? Well, the northern piece of energy is a little bit weaker. And if that's going to be the case, the system can go a little bit further north and it will be a little bit more deeper into that colder air. So that's why it's showing a little bit more snow. Meanwhile, on the hardest Canadian, on the other hand, it doesn't really show much of that action. It has the northern piece of energy stronger, so it keeps the storm system a little bit more suppressed, and it keeps it a little bit further south, a little bit further away from that Arctic air. So that's the difference there. Now the northwest trend could happen, and what typically happens during northwest trends, especially in the 24 to 48 hour period, models usually trend with the storm system to be a little bit stronger. If that does occur with this system here, there could be a little bit more snow with it as well. And that kind of leads to that potential for a winter storm as well. Let me show you guys what the difference here with the snowfall amounts here, which is not too early to look into snowfall amounts with this system. So like I said here, with the high-risk Canadian, it doesn't show much snow out there. And the snow ratios are likely to be low as well if you don't get much of Arctic air in here. So you're not going to see a whole lot of snow. Generally, maybe at most, maybe where from 1, 2, maybe getting close to 3 inches in some places. But it's not really impressive at all. But if you check out the NAM, which has more snow, it's a different story. It's actually got more snow shown on the map. It's actually got some places into winter storm territory. So the possibility is there we could see a winter storm out of this. But not every model agrees. Let's check out some other model guidance. Let's check out the GFS, which is usually the progressive one, which in this case, it has a little bit more of an amplified system, so you got higher snowfall totals. It's even in winter storm territory as well, which what's considered winter storm territory in Kentucky is at least 4 inches. And you've seen here the NAM and the GFS does have winter storm territory with those snowfall numbers. How about the Canadian model, which also done pretty good on the last event? It doesn't show that much snow out there. Really anywhere from 1 to 3 inches, kind of a nuisance event. But if you check out the GFS ensembles, it actually agrees a little bit more with the GFS. It also has a stronger agreement as well, which it does have some places in the parts of Kentucky and West Virginia getting at least 4 inches of snow. So the possibilities there we could see a winter storm out of this. Now, we'll have to see what the weather balloon data will do with these models here. As soon as that piece of energy gets onto the coast of California, or at least whenever it enters California tomorrow morning. We'll see if that creates any changes with the system here. But right now, the potential is there with Cozy Winter Storm, and I'm not expecting this to be a major system or anything, but the possibilities. But then again, the possibilities there with Cozy and Winter Storm for parts of Kentucky and West Virginia on the setup here, if the conditions are right as well, of course. We'll be watching it over the next day or two. Let's check out the European model, which in this case here, the European model has a cold air a little bit stronger further to the north, so it doesn't show much snow with it as well. But let's talk about our next system, which you can see here developing along this Arctic frontier, which is right through here. You got a lot of cold air to the north, so we're definitely not going to have a shortage of that Arctic air to the north. And already we're starting to see wintry precipitation across parts of the south, especially the Carolinas, where it actually has some mixing of freezing rain and snow. Now, this is an aggressive solution, and just to let you guys know that this is a pretty aggressive solution. But if the European model is correct, could see an ice storm for parts of the Carolinas again, and it's got a pretty good snowstorm on the backside of the system as well, up along the east coast. And then again, that's the most aggressive solution. Let's check out the Canadian model for a preference. It's got a pretty good snow behind the cold front, and you do notice here, it does have a pretty good snow across parts of the Carolinas, Virginia, Maryland, and Delaware, but it doesn't really go up along the east coast like the European model does. And if you look to the GFS model, which let me go back here real quick, it doesn't really show much of a system at all. So there's a lot of uncertainty with this system here. And one of the main reasons why is what's going on with the energy in the upper levels of the atmosphere, which this is the GFS model, and this is the one that doesn't show much of a system at all. Your big piece of energy is further back to the west here, but your low is much faster here, so they don't really come together in time. And if that happens, you don't really see much of a system at all here. But where the Canadian model does have a little bit of a better system and has better impacts for parts of Virginia and the Carolinas, or generally the Mid-Atlantic in general, it's much slower. Here's your system down here, and here's your big piece of energy a little further up to the north as well, in the parts of Kentucky and Tennessee. And eventually when those two kind of come together, which you can see right here, it becomes a little bit better storm system as well, and it kind of brings in a pretty good snowfall event for some of those areas down there. And where the European model is the most aggressive, it's even slower and it's more amplified. So moral of the story here is that if you get slower the system, the more amplified it can get and higher the snowfall chances. But faster the system, it doesn't get as amplified and it decreases your snow chances. That's kind of the moral of the story here. And then again, the European model is the most aggressive one, and it's also the slowest out of the rest. And I will say that the GFS does have a progression bias, so I'm not really buying too much into the GFS. If I were to pick a model that's probably a little bit more accurate, it'd probably be the Canadian model, which it has done pretty good in the past here. Even on the last storm, it did pretty well as well. So the snow threat will be there, especially across parts of the Carolinas and the Mid-Atlantic as well. And there might be an opportunity. If it does go slow enough, it may go up along the East Coast, but we'll have to see what happens there. Plus, another factor that will be in effect is how strong the cold air will be to the north. Or, in other words, is high pressure. If it stays stronger, it keeps the low track a little bit further south here, and it kind of decrease some snow chances for some folks, and it may actually increase snow chances a little bit further south. So that's also another factor you need to put into as well, is how strong the cold air will be to the north. And if it does trend stronger, the northeast actually may miss out on this event. But if it does trend weaker, you can again have a little bit more of a north track, and at the same time, it actually makes the system more amplified as well. and it also will make it move slower at the same time. So it also really matters as well. So if you're a snow lover, you got better hope that this system, this high pressure kind of backs off, or in other words, the cold air is not as strong. Then again, when it's stronger, it keeps it more suppressed, keeps the track further south. You don't see much of a system out of it. If the cold air is weaker, it can lead to a more amplified system, and it can lead to a bigger storm system as well, and it can increase winter storm chances as well. So it's definitely something to watch for now, and we are several days away from this event, so there will likely be some changes on the system as well. Last one I want to check out is the GFS ensembles. This is the mean snowfall accumulation, and you can see here it's not very impressive. And what that tells you is that there's still a lot of uncertainty with this system here, and things can change. But the possibility is there that we can see some snow across parts of the Carolinas, Mid-Atlantic, and possibly up along the East Coast as well, if the conditions are right, of course. But the possibility is there either way. This is the weather predictioner's thoughts. This is day 4, which is Friday. This is associated with that Arctic front type of snow setup. And they do have a low end risk across parts of North Carolina and parts of the Mid Atlantic. And that's just a pretty low end chance. And what this goes based off of is at least a quarter of an inch of snow or sleet. And there's a 10 to 30% chance that you could see some of that for anybody that's in that green. Now on day 5, with that low pressure system developing along the front, there are some higher probabilities. Now there were higher probabilities before. We actually used to have a 50 to 70% because there was a better agreement. Now today we don't have as much agreement, so the chances did decrease. Which in this case here, they do have a 30 to 50% chance across parts of North Carolina, southeastern Virginia, into parts of southern Maryland as well. Even areas in the lighter green color here, the lighter shade of green, even has a chance to see some snow out of this as well. You can see here, it's a pretty large area that could see that potential as well. Then on day 6, what they are suggesting that there could be that opportunity to see some snow out of the system here, even up along the East Coast as well. And then again, it's a pretty large area as well, so it's still a lot of uncertainty there. But the possibility is there that we could see that snow threat for over a very large region again. Not saying there will be a repeat of what we just experienced, but there's a possibility we could see a pretty good storm system later this week here, especially over the weekend as well. Then again, it is something to watch for now. If you miss out on both systems, don't worry. The pattern after that is still favorable for more snow chances, and it gets colder. And I'm just gonna play the GFS ensembles. And this is a mean of 20 members. So here comes our system there later this weekend. You can see there's not a strong agreement. But look what happens after that. I want to pause it here. That's a pretty good agreement here for being this far out. And with a setup like this, you can have clipper systems that may come from parts of Montana, Wyoming. This could bring us some snow chances for some of these areas in here, just from Alberta clipper systems. But meanwhile, a little further to the north, this is going to bring us some very cold air, especially across parts of the Great Lakes and the Northeast. And also with a setup like this, you can have an active storm track of something like this. So you have to watch these areas down here for more snow chances as well, since it is favorable to see something like that as well. And look how long that sticks around. I mean, it continues pretty much for the rest of the month of January, and even trying to get into parts of February as well. So then again, after these two systems, we still have a favorable pattern for more snow chances as well, especially for parts of the eastern US as well. So then again, don't worry, there's going to be more chances on the way. And oh yeah, let's talk about that cold air. Really, the darker blues indicate well below average temperatures, especially in the pink colors. And you can see here, the cold air pretty much sticks around for a long time in the eastern US. And things do stay on the warmer side across parts of the several plains in the western U.S. as well. And you can see here, as we keep on playing this through the rest of the month of January, things look to stay pretty cold in the eastern U.S. So, then again, after the system this weekend, the pattern still favors for more cold and snowy systems or systems that could bring in more snow chances as well. So then again, this cold and snowy pattern is likely won't be going anywhere anytime soon for parts of the central and eastern US. But anyways, guys, that's all for you guys today. Hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you guys like this video, hit the like button. If you do like my channel, hit the subscribe button. Hit the bell notifications so you never miss an upload. If you guys have questions about this, put in the comment section down below. I heard you guys questions. And I'll see you guys in the next video. Goodbye.